There we go. Ciao, everybody. My name is Anthony. Thank you very much for joining me, whether you are here on football or Inter Worldwide. Let's keep this one nice and brief, nice and short, for a couple of reasons. I'm obviously not in the best mood to do a roundup. Also, I've finally gotten settled after a long day at work. It's 8:35 p.m., as my eyes can tell. And also, I was today years old when I remembered that the next match day of Serie A is tomorrow morning in Australia. I'm not ready for that. At least Inter doesn't play. But let's have a little bit of a look. I've also gone live here so that I can minimize all forms of editing and all forms of everything. So it's going to be a quick little roundup for the Serie A match day that just passed. Massimo Fazzino, thank you very much for coming into the chat. You are way too kind. There's no reason for you to be here, but I really appreciate it, my bro. So make sure you like the video, and anybody else that tunes in live, it would be a pleasure. Hey, Ian Kerr's here as well. You know, just to have you guys here, just to have 4-5 of you here right now makes it all worth it. I'm going to wrap up Serie A match day 13 in T-minus 15 minutes. Let's see if I can get that done. And let's start from the top and the most depressing of the bunch. Let me just make sure that I've got all the fixtures here ready to go. Yes, I absolutely do. Thanks to the 6 people here right now. Like the video. Let me know if you are new. Juve beat Inter in the Derby d'Italia. What's going on, Debbie? Are you guys watching from 2 screens, or are you watching the same big screen, both of you on your phones at the same time? Either way, that's as cute as it gets. Thank you for coming in. Inter lose the Derby d'Italia 2-0 in Turin to a much more aggressive Juve side, especially in the second half. And I've done a lot of content on the Inter Worldwide platform on this particular game. But to see the likes of Lautaro Martinez, Eden Dzeko, and Denzel Dumfries miss those chances, and to see Adrien Rabiot score that chance with his weaker foot, and 19-year-old Fagioli split Robin Gosens and then get a deflection past him, guys, there was one team that deserved it, and it wasn't us. It's an Allegri-esque win. Nothing would make me happier than for them to go on a run now of defeats or draws in Serie A so they can claim that they won the We Beat Inter trophy this season. But unfortunately, what it does look like is that Juve's season in Serie A has kick-started, whereas Inter's is starting to come to an end. And I say that with a huge lack of confidence in this Inter side to be able to run all the way to matchday 38 and qualify for the Champions League. The goal is to qualify for the top 4 now for Inter. For Juve, they might still have one look at saying we can restart our Serie A season. I think both sides are in for a top 4 scrap. Let me know in the comments and on the comments back for anybody watching it back what you guys thought of the game, what you thought of the derby, and how you think these 2 sides can recover in the short and the long term. We've got 2 games left to the World Cup. Both sides will want to get maximum points. Inter have to travel to Bergamo on the weekend, right after we play Bologna at the San Siro midweek. A lot of fixtures piling up. I think some of the better players in this game were Bremer. Who else was good? Milik was not very good, but they were missing Vlahovic. For Inter, besides Di Marco, nobody really turned up in this game, and it was very disappointing. I hope that they went in the locker room and hung their heads in shame after that. As Massimo says, we played very bad. There's no point lingering too much on this fixture. As you can see in the background, the team was not happy. And how can you be after you let this French frog score? Not good. Not a good look. He's playing for his contract, and all of a sudden he's turned up the heat since knocking back that offer from Manchester United. Moving on to the other derby on match day 13. Lazio, Flying Eagles, flying high by defeating Roma at the Gillarossi's home, much to the dismay of Mourinho after a horrible Ibanez error. Gifts Felipe Anderson the goal. Was it Felipe Anderson? Yeah, it was Felipe Anderson, wasn't it? Absolutely gifts it to him in the opening 30 minutes. I think it was around minute 27, 28. And from there on, Lazio held on. Zaniolo hit the crossbar. Abraham had some chances. Pellegrini was well involved. Chris Smalling had a header go wide at the back post. But the job was nowhere near done. And unfortunately for Roma, they're going to have to cop that L. And right now, it's still looking a little bit of a rough task for Mourinho, who came into this season with, the goal as to make the top 4. That's their goal. And now Inter share that goal. Same as Lazio, Roma, Atalanta, and possibly Juve as well. it's going to be a very, very bleak run-in for some of these sides. Pellegrini injured once again, showing his fragility. Can you really blame these players at the moment that are being run into the ground, World Cup or not? It's not a good look for football. It's actually a farce at the moment. Mourinho will not be happy. He was not arrogant in defeat, but not humbled in defeat either. When you do watch this video back, let me know what you think of Roma and Mourinho so far this season. And do you think that Jose has really found his new level, in a sense that he's probably not going to challenge for top honors for the rest of his career unless he walks into a very, very privileged job with a privileged side and a privileged cash bank account ready to spend in the modern day transfer market. For Lazio, on the other hand, after a string of disappointing results recently, I've given them a lot of credit throughout the season, and I think that they'll continue to do well under Sarri. I'm a huge fan of Zaccagni. I just love his grinta. I love his attitude, and I'd love to see him come and play at Inter someday as well, but it would have to be soon. Man, is there anything Olivier Giroud can't do? Clearly, he's not retaining any body fat either. Look at the guy. The guy's an absolute Adonis. It looks like someone just carved him right out of a sculpture. And that finish on the 88th minute, we all knew it was coming. My Bet365 account knew it was coming. And when my Bet365 account thinks it's coming, it usually is, especially when it's got nothing to do with Inter or something to do with our rivals. Olivier Giroud scores the late goal as Milan get 3 points against Spezia. They were not great, but then again, they always find a way to get it over the line. And that's why I still maintain that they are the main challengers for the Scudetto behind Napoli this season. It's a two-horse race for me at the moment, and that's sad. Thank you to the 7 people that are tuning in right now. It's very nice of you. Please, if you're on the Inter Worldwide platform, make your way over to Football Worldwide, like the video, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Good win for Milan as they keep their hopes of retaining their title alive. One little funny talking point from that game is Daniele Maldini scored for Spezia while his father, the famous Paolo, was in the stands as Milan's director. Daniele was also seen mouthing off to the referee, trying to spur him on to make decisions for Spezia. No happy meal on the way home for Daniele. Go to bed without your dinner, sir. Let's move on, please. For Napoli, Elmas gets on the score sheet, but as the title was in last week's video, I've just kept it in there. Osimhen is a gun. He continues to be a beast. And Napoli away in Bergamo, 2-1. Who's going to stop this team now? Who's going to stop them now? If they can win their next 2 games and go into the World Cup with a double-digit lead, mate, this is scary. And good on them. Good on Napoli. Because now I need to do the beta thing and sit on the sidelines as an Inter fan and go, well, if we're talking about who I want to win the league, I've got half of my Napoli kit ready to go from the closet. Ciao Emiliano, thank you very much for coming into the video. I appreciate it. There's now 9 people watching us on Football Worldwide or watching me on Football Worldwide, and I really appreciate that. Luciano Spalletti, imagine he goes all the way. If he can't go all the way this season, I dare say I don't think I could ever see the guy winning the Serie A title, but I'm backing him this season to keep it going with this depth to get the job done. They will be very, very goal-orientated. They will love the fact that they got a favorable Champions League draw as well, one that might not fatigue the side as much as other sides. Who knows? There could still be an upset in that sense by drawing against, it was Eintracht Frankfurt, wasn't it? Yeah, Frankfurt wouldn't have been happy drawing Napoli. That is for sure. They continue on their run. I know that they're 11 points ahead of Inter now, and if I'm not mistaken, they're 6 points clear of Milan as well. Napoli continue to riot. Fiorentina under Italiano have finally put together some back-to-back wins and have clawed their way up the ladder. I'm going to keep this one short, but this Milenkovic character, we all knew he was going to be really good. And right now, he's the one that's really dug them out of adversity in the best way possible. Well, that and Jack Bonaventura, who is having a great season as well. They've got such a good array of talent with Kouame as well. And I said this to Adam in I think our last episode. They've got such a good squad. They have been underperforming all season. It's not that hard to beat this Sampdoria side who didn't have too many chances. Ciccio Caputo had a couple of decent looks at goal, but it really was never going to be anything other than a Fiorentina win as they peppered the goal pretty much all game. No problem with Napoli winning, says Ian Kerr, although I will say we still have to play them twice, and most of our big games left are at the San Siro. Still a lot to play for. Love your optimism, brother. Hello, Anthony Amira says, I hope you've recovered from the Juve game. I have to an extent, but How do you recover from a loss against Juve until you at least put together a string of results that turns the season around? I just can't see where those results are going to come from. Fiorentina win the game 2-0 and they climb up the ladder as well. This player here, Dodò and Icone, both had great games and both have bright futures as well if they can stay in form. Colpani got on the score sheet as Monza defeated Verona by 2-0. Verona are just a sad sack of crap at the moment. They really are the worst team in Serie A at the moment. The sad story there, Stefano Sensi picked up another injury, which is going to put him out for a while, back in surgery. I don't even want to call it unlucky anymore. Clearly, this guy has just got something in him that it's not good. It's not good. He was injured a lot at Inter. Now he's injured a lot at Monza. Stefano Sensi's career is coming to an end. It's coming to a rapid end. He had so much potential a few years ago when he was playing at Inter under Conte. But unfortunately for him, if you can't keep up a fitness regime at Monza, I dare say you're not really going to cut it anywhere else. But a big 3 points for Monza there. Petagna squares it for Colpani for the second goal. I actually forget off the top of my head who got the first one. And I apologize for that. But big win for Monza as they continue to show that they've got enough in them this season to survive the drop. I almost expect them to survive the drop with the way that they've been playing football so far. Verona, on the other hand, are just crap. They're complete crap. They're worse than that. They're probably going to get relegated. And you know what? For the first time I can remember, with Chievo down, we probably won't have a team from Verona in Serie A, which is sad, but oh well, who's losing sleep after that? Empoli defeated Sassuolo by 1-0, and that was a really good win for them. Sassuolo are just so hot and cold this season. So hot and cold this season. It's a little bit embarrassing on their behalf. They should be winning a lot more of the games or scoring a lot more of the points that they have dropped in this particular campaign. But hey, what are you going to do, right? It is what it is. You got to put these games together. Baldanzi scored the goal around about the hour mark to keep Empoli's spirits alive and to just keep them knowing that surviving the drop is the main aim for them. I joked on Inter Worldwide that, expect a pretty much a similar Matchday 38 for Inter this season if we come down to a top 4 fight. That resembles the match that we had against Empoli in, I think it was season 18-19 under Spalletti, or was it 17-18? I think 17-18 under Spalletti, because that was one of the most one of the worst games ever that we had to watch as fans. Was that game where we had to qualify for the Champions League and it came down to the final day against Empoli. Not a good look, but well done for them for grabbing the 3 points, and bad look for Sassuolo, who continue to have a very mediocre season, which I guess was expected after losing the likes of Scamacca and Raspadori. What's going on, Lord Figo? Good to see you. Where is Bruno? I'm sure he's I think he might be coming home from Queensland at the moment. I wasn't able to get anybody on tonight because I wasn't even sure I was able to do this tonight, bro. I've been so beat up from work today. I've only just sat down. But yeah, all good. And it's all good to see you again, Figo. Keep doing your thing, man. And we'll chat soon. Lecce kept Udinese to a draw, which I believe is 6 games in a row now that Udinese haven't grabbed a win. They had 16 shots on goal, though. I remember that. They also dominated the possession of the match. But unfortunately, they couldn't get the job done. Beto scored the equalizer on 68 minutes after Colombo opened the scoring. For Udinese, they're now down to 8th position. They were never going to challenge for anything. They were never going to challenge for the top 4 either. They're just someone that blew the gas a little bit too early. Lecce are also winless in, I think, 6 games now. Maybe even 7. I'm not too sure. I know it's definitely 5. But with only 9 competition points and 1 win this season, they're really going to just continue to struggle. I expect Lecce to be in the relegation fight up until the last day of the season. You can tell how disappointed that Udinese are after starting the season so brightly, and after collecting 6 wins, they are yet to secure a win in a while. Not too many losses on their card, only 2, but draws are not victories, unfortunately, and they need to accept the fact that they are a mid-table side at best. This was crazy, this match between Salernitana and Cremonese. I really wanted Cremonese to get the points in this game, but they were never going to because they did have to come back twice. But, they get a shot at Milan tomorrow at home. I don't think they'll be able to get the job done or anything out of that game there. It'll be a miracle. Anyway, as you can see, Piontek opened the scoring after 3 minutes in that game. Okereke scored a great equalizer on 12 minutes. If you haven't seen it, go and watch that back. Sublime strike. Koulibaly walked the ball into the back of the net after that from the right-hand flank. And it was Ciofani who made it 2-2 on the 89th minute. If you haven't watched the highlights, go back and watch it because the goalkeeper makes 2 saves from 2 penalties. He saves the first one. It comes back. They score off the rebound. Cremonese this is. Only for them to review it and say there was an obstruction by an attacking player, which means the penalty has to get retaken. Keeper saves it again on the other side, comes straight back, rebounded in for 2-2. Both managers at the end of the game were clapping, happy to share the spoils. But if I was the Salernitana goalkeeper, I would be furious. I would be fuming, absolutely fuming at that. When's he going to save 2 back-to-back penalties in the space of 2 minutes again? Not going to happen. Salernitana 2, Cremonese 2, and that leaves them both still. Salernitana's 9th on the ladder. I know that. They're still 3 wins out of their last 5. 4 of those games being undefeated, with that final one being the draw. 17 competition points as well. They'll do enough to survive the drop this season, in my opinion, although it's still a long way to go. Cremonese are still the only side in Serie A this season to not pick up a win, but with their 6 draws, still got more points than Verona. Brr. Ciao, Marvel Lawson. Thank you very much to my other channel member from Inter Worldwide coming in. It's really, really nice. Let's go to Torino and Bologna, which was a good match for Bologna manager Thiago Motta, who really, really, really needed 3 points here to keep Bologna head above water. Lukic opened the game, as you can see. Penalty for him after how long? I forget off the top of my head. It was first half, midway through first half. Forgive me, I'm not working with any stats on the board or anything. I'm just trying to remember the table in my head and the results from and the highlights that I watched about 3 or 4 times each. I try to watch them 3 or 4 times each because once I watch it the 3rd time, it gets engraved into my head who scored the goals and what happened, bar maybe a few stats. Both of them are mid-table together at this point. I forget who's 10th and who's 12th or who's 11th and who's 13th. It's something like that. They're not separated by many, if any, points. Torino will feel disappointed in that because they were in control for large parts of the game, but it's all about Riccardo Orsolini, who scored a fantastic first goal, was catalytic in the second, and then should have made it a 3rd on 96 minutes. He'll never miss an easier chance like that in his life. Luckily for him, the whistle was borderline in the referee's mouth, and that game was pretty much done. Torino goalkeeper absolutely furious at the second goal, and rightfully so. It was 2 goals in 9 minutes where the defense really let him down without looking over their shoulder. Not good. All right, let's summarize. It's been a nice little video. Did I get everything right or wrong? I got a couple of table positions right. Yep, that's not bad. I didn't miss any games either. So Napoli at the top, obviously with 35 competition points. They are still the only team that is undefeated in Serie A with 11 wins and 2 draws. They are marching all the way this season, in my opinion. Milan will be their closest battlers. They are on 29 points. And hey, with 4 wins out of their last 5, I ain't going to throw shade on this Milan team, which is becoming a habit for a lot of beta Inter fans. You all know who you are. Humble yourselves. You've been saying for a year and a half now that this Milan team is overachieving. How? They're still there. They're still doing it. I got nothing bad to say. Lazio are where I think that they should be at the moment. I think that they made a really good start to their season and they're reaping the benefits of that despite a couple of negative results recently, more so in the Europa League. To go down to the Conference League is a failure of epic proportions, especially after what their directors and management/ownership said about the competition. Atalanta are in 4th on 27 competition points. Juventus are up in 5th on 25. Roma also on 25. Inter on 24 in 7th. Inter are 7th. How embarrassing. Udinese are 8th on 23 competition points. Salernitana and Torino round up the top half. Fiorentina, after putting back-to-back wins together, have moved from 10 to 16 competition points. Liquid gold points for them. Bologna, Sassuolo, Empoli, and Monza make up the rest of the points in double digits, who could still walk away from this match day feeling safe. Although Sassuolo are looking at their season and their latest run of form, 4 losses in 5. They stink. They stink of something bad. Empoli and Monza and Salernitana, on the other hand, will be sitting there looking, we ain't going so bad. Let's just keep this up and we'll survive the drop. Monza, I genuinely think that they're playing better football than what it suggests on the table and their points tally. Let's see how that goes, but still only 1 win away from they're one loss away from being in the relegation zone. If the likes of Cremonese or Sampdoria decided to get there, you know what, together, which they probably won't, because the rest of the ladder is a sad story. Lecce, Spezia. I hope Spezia get relegated this season as well. Sorry, I just think that they deserve it. I got a thing for these teams that I think deserve to get relegated based on the way that they play and just the way that they're mercenaries and merchants on the pitch. And yeah, terrorist football from Spezia once again this season, even though maybe I'm just still dirty because I watched them up until the 88th minute grinding it out against Milan. In fact, that's probably exactly why. Cremonese and Verona are my hot picks to get relegated at the moment, but it's only been 13 match days. Plenty of Serie A to come, unfortunately, if you're an Inter fan. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I wanted to keep it short and sweet. I'm just really happy I was able to get this content out there. If you are someone who tunes in on Inter Worldwide, do us a solid, flip over to the Football Worldwide YouTube channel and subscribe to us there as we continue to grow on both platforms. My name is Anthony, and I will see you at some point soon, hopefully next week, for some more Serie A talk, and hopefully I can get a guest or two in as well. Ciao Marvel, ciao Massimo, ciao Lord Figo, Emiliano, Amira, and the Kerr Mafia. Peace.